Hello, and welcome back to Specimen the Sociologist. This is your host, Jessamyn Reichmann. If you couldn't tell from the name of the podcast, I have a very corny way of introducing myself, and that is my name, Jessamyn, rhymes with specimen, but with a J. I'm a budding sociologist who is radically in love with people, and now that love has sent me on a simple quest to figure out how can science be used as a tool to stabilize our social interactions. Today's episode is going to look a wee bit different. This segment is called Principles in a Pod, and I got this idea from peas in a pod. One day I thought to myself, if peas serve as the substance of pods, how can principles serve as the substance of this podcast? Get it? Podcast. Anywho, science is important, but it's even more important that we remain sensible to information and how we both consume and steward that. So, without further ado, let's dive into today's principle, and that being love. We just wrapped up Valentine's Day, which is my favorite holiday in the entire world because I'm obsessed with all things pink and handwritten letters and the beauty of relationships. Now, while I love the power of love, it's important that we break this principle down. As a person who once viewed love as either an intense passion or mistaking romantic gestures as love or even limiting it to only physical intimacy, over the years I've learned that love has taken on a more mature definition. And in this episode, I will be arguing that love is not an emotion. Rather, it's a tool for transformation. Before we dive into my hot take on the transformative nature of love, let's add a sprinkle of sociology to the conversation. In the academic discipline of sociology, there is something called the sociology of love. And it's a field study that examines love through the lens of social structure, cultural norms, and human behavior. It explores how love is shaped by society and how it influences individuals and relationships. So rather than seeing love as purely a personal or emotional experience, the sociology of love is a social phenomenon influenced by factors such as class, gender, race, and historical context. Some key areas that the sociology of love may focus on can include, but aren't limited to, social norms and expectations, love and gender roles, love in media, and even love as a social institution. In short, the sociology of love looks beyond individual emotions and actions, considering how broader societal influences shape and define love, romantic relationships, and intimacy. And I emphasize the ways in which love is not just a private feeling, but a social construct. While there are a million and one different jumping off points to unpack the social concept of love, we're only going to focus on categorizing it into four different sections and how those types of love can show up in our social lives. So, the first type of love is agape love. The word agape comes from the ancient Greek word agape, which means brotherly love or charity. Now, this type of love often describes an unconditional, selfless, and universal love that extends beyond just romantic or familial bonds to encompass a broader sense of care and compassion for all people. So, in a social context, agape love can be seen as community service, collective care, and really just building a more equitable society. So, examples of this could be shown in various social justice movements. It could be seen in philanthropic efforts, or perhaps global health efforts, or maybe even restorative practice. So, what does reconciliation look like in our community after harm has occurred? And there are many other examples. And actually, thinking back to this past year, the United States had its presidential election, and a perspective that I leveraged in conversations with friends and colleagues was how can you be more generous with your vote? Instead of considering just your needs, how can you vote for the needs of your neighbor? And that's just an example of how this agape love can show up in the most small and intimate areas of our life. Now, the second type of love is philia or philia love. I don't speak Greek, so you're going to have to bear with me here. But this type of love refers to the deep affection and friendship and loyalty that's shared between individuals. Typically, this can be seen in having a strong inner circle of friends. Maybe you have a mentor in your workplace, or maybe you're a college student and you're a part of an affinity group that affirms your racial, ethnic, or religious background. To maybe you are in an addiction recovery group. These are just examples of how this love manifests itself as a selfless, platonic affection that is meant to strengthen the other individual. So, again, the byproduct of this type of love, it builds a network of support and of understanding and of shared purpose. The next type of love is Stoj love. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right either, so have grace for your girl. But anywho, this kind of love is deeply rooted in affection, care, and familiarity. It's often described as a love between family members, perhaps between a parent and their child, but it can also extend to long term friendships. Now, this love, again, can show up in the form of parent child relationship, where this love is typically unconditional, meaning that the parent loves their child without expecting anything in return. Or another example could be sibling relationships. This one is based again on shared memories and mutual care for one another. For example, when my younger siblings were transitioning from online school to in person following COVID-19, I assumed more responsibilities as the oldest sister. Because again, my purpose was to help them socially integrate themselves back into society, whether that was helping them walk through their social anxiety or helping them choose their school outfits or helping style their hair to even giving them advice on how to, put themselves out there and build friendships. I was able to provide a unique type of love towards them because we had a bond that was built over years of shared experience and having just the same family background. So I just kind of caught their drift immediately. Now, the other type of filial love, which is one of my favorites, is long term friendships. This is created not only out of having a shared history, but a relationship that's built out of consistency and comfort. For example, I have childhood friends of 16 plus years, and we've gone through heartbreaks and family troubles and financial hiccups and even major career wins together. But what's most rewarding is that each of those events just continues to build that familiarity and that level of comfort. And it oftentimes shows up in the most simple things. Like I'll go over to my friend Sanchez's house and I'll see her parents in the kitchen and we'll just yap for like 20 or 30 minutes or whatever. And it's just so nice because there's a high level of comfort that it's like, their house is my home. It's amazing. Anywho, in the essence of storage love, these relationships are built on shared experience, long term commitment, and mutual care. And this is often associated with family, close knit communities, where everything is just kind of like this unconditional love. So, yeah, that's the third type. The next type of love is Eros love. This type of love is characterized by passionate, romantic, and physical attraction. It's kind of that love that crawls up and bites you on the bum bum. It's a love that fuels romantic relationships, especially in the early stages when there is just pure infatuation and all the emotions that you're feeling are exciting and fresh and intense. And it's just like, woo, mama blushing all the time. But anywho, this can show up in a few ways, such as flirting with someone that shows either romantic or physical attraction. It could be romantic gestures, such as sending flowers or writing love notes, or even the rush of a first kiss. So, again, this type of love is anchored in deep desire, longing, and exhilaration. Now, as you reflect on the four types of love agape, philia, storge, and eros I encourage you to think about how they shape your social life. For example, How does Eros love show up in your relationships? Like, when's the last time that you confessed you had a crush on someone or that you shot your shot? How does agape manifest itself in your life? When's the last time that you volunteered? Or perhaps you were generous to someone who was in need? And I believe that as you reflect on how love can serve as the foundation of your social life, the process is creating more balanced relationships. And I believe that this balance can contribute to a stronger society for us all. Bell Hooks, in her book All About Love, argues that we need a loving society because love, in its most transformative form, has the power to heal, unite, and create a more just world. Hooks sees love not just as a personal or romantic feeling, but as a political and social force that can reshape society. So think about it. How does loving your spouse impact their emotional intelligence in the workplace? How does supporting your sibling at home influence their ability to support their teammates? And how does your work with refugees affect the way that you cast your vote? Again, I want you to use these four types of love as a moral compass to how you show up in life. But again, if you really want to change the world around you, that starts with you. Earlier, I suggested that love is not just an emotion, it's a tool for transformation. And it requires you to evolve into a better version of yourself with the sole purpose of serving another person's need. Robert A. Heinlein said, "Love is that condition in which the happiness of another person is essential to your own." So, my takeaway, in true love, your happiness is tied to someone else's. And when you love them deeply, their well being becomes your well being. And if I can be honest, my greatest moments in life aren't what the world would consider great. It's in the small things, whether it's encouraging my girlfriend before she goes on a date, or helping my grandmother with chores, or calming a friend down when the car breaks down on I-5. Like the true reward comes from seeing someone either go through a difficult experience and grow in the process, or them just becoming a healthier version of themselves. And here's the fun part. The same love that I give is the same love that I need in return. Whether I'm having a tough day and a stranger smiles at me, or a friend writes me an encouraging letter, or perhaps when I am pursuing my dreams and I'm not as present as possible, my siblings have a way of just anchoring me and bringing me back down to earth. And that's why I argue that love is a tool for transformation, because it's a force that anchors itself in the betterment of those around you and requires a better version of you. On that note, how do we become more lovable? Well, I have a few suggestions. The first one is recognize that love is a lifetime commitment. If we understand that love is a tool for transformation, then we have to accept that we as people are always evolving. So there will always be new ways for you to serve and to listen and to love those around you. The second suggestion is this: love cannot exist without humility. If you're going to effectively love another person, you have to love them in the way that they best receive it. And that attentiveness requires humility. And if you don't believe me, go ahead and watch one of my favorite romance movies, Pride and the Prejudice, and just see how the main character, Mr. Darcy, thought he knew it all. But he actually had to humble himself so that he could be emotionally intelligent. I know, hot take, right? Anywho, the third suggestion is, and this isn't as much a suggestion as it is like a fact, the fruit of love is healthy and whole relationships. So your commitment to living a life of love should be reflected in the quality of the relationships that surround you. For example, are people better off after they have a conversation with you? Or in the presence, do they feel seen and heard? And I actually think back to last month, I had a long overdue check in with a friend from high school. And we just giggled and laughed and caught up for about 2.5 hours over like a cup of coffee and a couple free glasses of water. But after we wrapped up and we went our separate ways, I gently looked back at her as she was walking away. This girl was smiling and skipping away. She wasn't listening to the music. She wasn't looking at her phone. And I thought to myself, I don't know the last time that I made someone skip. And I was just like, this is the biggest form of a compliment that one could receive. Anywho, again, the fruit of love is healthy and whole relationships. So, how's a person better off now that they had an encounter with you? And the last one is love will acquire a mature version of you. Keep in mind, as a person's needs shift throughout life, so must the way that you serve them. And that love will not only keep you on your toes, but it makes life exhilarating. So, to wrap up, love is not just an emotion. It is a powerful tool for transformation that shapes how we connect with one another and build stronger, more compassionate communities. As we explore today, love takes many forms, from agape and philia to storge and eros, and each type plays a crucial role in the social fabric of our lives. So, let's reflect on how we can bring more love into our lives and transform not only our personal relationships, but the world around us. Now, before we end this episode, I do want to leave you with a few song recommendations, and these will actually be inspired by the 4 different types of love that I mentioned earlier. For agape love, we have the Otis Redding cover of Stand By Me. I feel like this song conveys a powerful message of loyalty, support, and unconditional love, emphasizing the importance of standing by someone in times of need. For the category of philia, this song is Don't Let It Go to Your Head by Cleo Soul. In this song, Soul takes an encouraging approach to helping a person in her life just stop overthinking and become more present. If I can be honest, that's something that my friends help me with on the daily. For the category of storage, we have the song As by Stevie Wonder. While Wonder is referencing a romantic relationship, I love how he speaks to his love never ending, which again, I think speaks to the longevity of long-term relationships, whether that's the relationship you have with your neighborhood buddy, with your parent, with your sibling, with a family member. There's some relationships that just go on and on. And the last one, Eros. The song that goes to this category is called Nothing Sweeter by Naomi Sharon. And in this song, Sharon describes the rush of the first kiss with her love and the anticipation that builds to a greater intimacy. So hopefully, as you listen to those song recommendations, they remind you of this podcast, which ultimately reminds you again that love is not just an emotion, rather it's a tool for transformation that not only matures you, but helps build healthier relationships that surround you. And on that note, I will talk to you guys later, and I hope that you have a powerful day. Toodaloo!